Hey, it's been a hot minute, right? Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about food, and we have a special surprise at the end that we want to share with you, so stick around. Hey, welcome back to our channel. We are Two Rebels Off Grid. If you're new to our channel, I'm Keri. My other half is Doug. He's the tall one. He's outside working, so he's not going to be in the video today. But we had a house near Denver, Colorado, and we both worked in government. And when COVID happened, we decided to take a huge risk. We sold our house, sold most everything we owned, and bought this little RV that we're living in. We actually bought 36 acres off grid here in southeast Arizona, which is in Cochise County. We live in a little town called Alfreda, and we live completely off the grid, and we are building a homestead from the ground up. And as we're building our homestead, it is all based on permaculture and sustainability. We're building with hyper adobe, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically building with dirt. So we just finished our first really big project, which was our hyper adobe chicken coop. And you are going to want to watch the next video after this one, because we're going to show you the finished product. We've completed it. It's absolutely beautiful, and it looks like it rose up out of the ground, which is exactly the look Doug wanted. So we're excited to share that video with you soon. Today, I want to talk to you guys about food. And I've got several things that all kind of tie together that I'm going to share with you. Let me just say, I'd like you to stick around to the end of the video, because we have a huge surprise that we want to share with you guys, and we need your help. So make sure and stick around to the end to see what the surprise is. And like I said, we're going to need your help. We're going to need you to make some comments for us, and I'll explain that more towards the end of the video. All right, so let's talk about food. So I've been going down some rabbit holes, let's just say. Let me tell you how this journey kind of started out. So I am one that believes firmly that you should read the labels and know what you're putting into your body, right? I've always been like that. My mom, this came from my mom, I'm going to tell you. In the 70s, when I was growing up, my mom was known in her circle of friends as the health food lady, which is actually really awesome. As a kid, all I wanted to do was eat white bread and bologna and soda, and that was not anything that you would find at my house. My mom made almost everything from scratch, and I'm talking yogurt. She made peanut butter. She made homemade bread. She really was quite amazing, and really gave me a great foundation for nutrition and being aware of what I'm eating. So thank you, Mom. And she's still that way to this day, and the woman is amazing. She's almost 80, well, she's in her early 80s, I'll say that, and she still works full-time as a psychologist. She's still very aware of what she eats. She's healthy. She has nothing wrong, you guys. She's nothing. She doesn't have high blood pressure, nothing. No obesity, no diabetes, none of the things that we often associate with aging, as if that's normal. I don't think it's normal. I don't think that those diseases that are so common, I don't believe are normal. So I'll just say that. So anyway, so my journey on food. Now, I'm not as strict as my mom was. I let my kids have some of that stuff, but for the most part, I always tried to buy organic foods. When my kids were babies, I was very fortunate that I was a stay-at-home mom. I actually also worked full-time because I had a medical transcription company. So it was hard though, like working from home and then also taking care of the kids was a challenge. I'll put it that way, but I was a lot younger and I had a lot more energy. but I would make most of their baby food. So I would buy organic fruits and vegetables, blend them up, pour them in a, I just used like ice cube trays, and then I'd freeze it and pop them out, and then put them in I kept them like in a Ziploc bag, and then you have instant baby food whenever you need it. And I liked doing that because I knew what was in it. You know, some of the baby foods have some kind of whack ingredients in there that I didn't really want to feed my kids. Some of them are perfectly fine, but making the baby food myself I found was a lot more cost effective. And then I could also control like what the mixes were that I was making. And, you know, like sometimes you would buy like potatoes with spinach or something, but maybe my kids don't like that. And so I would make my own little mixes for them and stuff. So I've always been very aware of food from the time I was a kid. And it's probably gotten more so as I've gotten older. So one of the things that kind of led me down this recent rabbit hole was my own health. And I've struggled the last couple years with increasing joint pain. I've really noticed it since I went back to work because I'm on the computer a lot, and I really noticed it in my hands. A lot of people are going to say, oh, you're just at that age, you know, perimenopause or whatever. A lot of people are saying like, oh, arthritis and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, but is it normal for us to, do we just like automatically expect that as we get older? I really don't think we should. I really think that there might be a solution, at least in my mind, to it that involves like what I'm eating or what I'm not eating. So I started going down this rabbit hole and learning more about labeling and what's in our food and what's not in our food, which has led me to make some pretty major decisions. And I want to share with you guys a little bit about my journey. So what I've noticed living here in a rural area, and most of you, if you live in a rural area, you're going to know what I'm talking about, at least here in the US. Every small town out here has a dollar store. That seems to be like standard. Like literally in every small town. Even if there's no gas station or nothing else, there's a dollar store. So a lot of people are unfortunately stuck buying a lot of their food at the dollar store. I try to avoid the dollar store. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you need like toilet paper or something last minute. And so we run down there and get it. But what I had noticed at the dollar store is that one of the things I'm really trying to avoid is genetically modified or bioengineered foods. And what I noticed is it's almost impossible to find those at the dollar store. Like at the dollar store, it seemed like almost every food label that I would look at had bioengineered or contained GMOs. And I'm like, gosh, it kind of sucks. Like I really want to avoid it. We really avoid the dollar store. We try to eat local. We try to buy from local farms and local ranches and get our meat locally. One of the things that, and I'll tell you why I'm trying to avoid the GMOs, is because most of the GMO crops that they grow now are what's called Roundup Ready. If you don't know what Roundup is, it's a weed killer is what it is. It's been around forever. My dad used to use it. I remember him spraying it on our driveway, even though he considered himself an organic gardener. He would spray our driveway with Roundup because it was a long dirt driveway, and to kill the weeds instead of having to pull all of them, because Washington State, man, the weeds just grow crazy. But I remember him, when I was a kid, I remember him doing this, and he would spray Roundup, and he would wear a mask and gloves and eye protection. So he must have known something, right? I can't ask him now because he's passed away, but I often wonder, like, what did he know about Roundup back then in the 70s that he didn't want to touch the stuff? He also died very young of lung cancer, and he was not a smoker. So, you know, I don't know. I try to avoid. I've never used Roundup, and I'm not a fan. A lot of big producers, growers use it because it makes their life easier. They can produce more crops. So the reason why I'm avoiding GMOs is because of glyphosate. And the reason is because these plants have been genetically changed, engineered to be Roundup Ready is what they're called. And what that means is, say you have a farmer that grows, say something like corn. They plant their corn out, and then what they do is they you know, these are huge growing operations. They just probably by a plane or I don't know, a mist or something, they spray the crops with Roundup. Now what they've done is they've taken that corn and they've genetically modified it so that it is resistant to being killed by Roundup. So what happens is, say this is your field, they spray the field and all that, it's glyphosate is what it is, the Roundup is. It goes onto the plants and then it settles onto the ground. It kills the weeds around the corn, but it also gets on the corn. So it doesn't kill the corn because it's been genetically modified so that it won't kill the corn. But now it's on the corn. And if you're eating corn, I don't know if it can be washed off or not, but I've heard that it can get in and it actually changes the DNA of the corn. Now a lot of crops that are made for animal feed, like corn and soy and things like that, are GMO crops. I think I heard something up to 95% of the crops that are grown for animals are GMO. And so that means they're spraying glyphosate on them, and that means the animals are ingesting it, because I would highly doubt that they're going to be washing all that stuff before they produce it into food for the animals. So it's really something to think about and something to be aware of. And it seems to be something that is very divisive. Some farmers are like fully on board with it and they use it because they can grow so much more because they're getting rid of that weed load, and that just allows the plant to grow better. The research I've done on glyphosate tells me that it's not something that I want on my food, and it's really not something I want to be feeding my animals either. Although at this point, I don't know if that's avoidable unless you're growing it yourself or you're buying local. So why am I avoiding glyphosate? Why am I trying not to ingest it or feed it to Doug or my, when my kids visit, or my animals? Because they've done studies. Well, first of all, let me say this. The FDA has deemed it safe because of these studies that they've done, but the studies that they've done are only 3 months long. And people say that's not enough time to determine what the long-term effects are. It really bothers me because a lot of other countries have outlawed GMO and outlawed the use of glyphosate. Mexico, for instance, does not allow GMO food. They don't allow it to be sold in Mexico. So, there's a reason for that. And it really does sadden me that the U.S. unfortunately seems to be more about the almighty dollar than providing us with food that is safe and healthy. Glyphosate studies, and some of these studies have actually been funded by Monsanto. Some of these studies have been funded by them. And what it shows is that the long-term studies are showing it's very much does damage to the liver, let me look at my notes so I don't tell you the wrong thing. But it was liver, kidneys, reproductive system, immune system, and there's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma has been tied to it, which is an immune type of cancer. And then a lot of other cancers. Inflammation has been shown. They've shown inflammation in, they tested on rats and stuff, and it's shown that they have inflammatory reactions. Inflammation is really a lot of the root of a lot of our issues. It's also shown, this is really interesting, it's also shown that as the use of GMO and glyphosate has gone up on the graph, so have up to something like 30 diseases that were never really a thing 50 and 100 years ago, but now they've become almost expected. And I think that is just, it really makes me sad. But let me tell you some of the diseases that are linked to the use of glyphosate GMO products. And you might, maybe you might struggle with one of these, but the things that are the most common are diabetes, obesity, sleep disorders, which everybody I know has a sleep disorder, it seems. And a lot of people I know struggle with diabetes. Schizophrenia is linked to it. ADHD, lots of different types of cancer, dementia, autism, lots of digestive issues, and it damages your gut it's called your microbiome that's in your gut. And a lot of you may already know this, and I may be preaching to the choir, but your gut microbiome is really where your immune system lives. That right there, if your gut microbiome is off or not operating correctly, you're gonna have health issues. It's just the way it is. So your gut microbiome is so important, and glyphosate actually like kills it. So, and it also kills the microbiome that is in the soil. So long-term use of it, I believe, sterilizes the soil and makes it, so that it's difficult to grow things. Now they're smart, right? These companies that make all this money, they have developed seeds that do just fine in that soil. But man, I'm telling you, like there's just something about it that makes me think like in 10 or 15 years, this is going to be like a huge, huge thing. So a couple tips, try to avoid it if you can. It's hard to avoid though. There's other things that they're doing to the food that I just was reading about this morning, and I knew about this a couple years ago. And I'm going to put the link to this article. Well, it's not an article, it's just a statement on Natural Grocers website. We had Natural Grocers in Colorado, and they were great because you could buy, and they were very reasonably priced. You could buy your organic vegetables there and stuff that wasn't GMO. Well, they made a statement. Natural Grocers came out against a new product that's come out called Apeel. It's APEEL, and it was developed by Bill Gates, one of his groups, and it's a spray that they spray onto the vegetables and fruits. And the selling point of it is that it makes your fruits and vegetables last longer and not go bad as quickly. But something that you might find interesting is that they're spraying it on they're spraying it on fruits and vegetables that are not organic, but they're also spraying it on things that are organic, which I didn't know until this morning. So I wanted to include that in the topic today because I want to avoid that. And the reason I want to avoid it is the company that makes this stuff, they have two different names. One's called, I think it's called Apeel. You can read this in the article, but I think it's called Apeel, which is the stuff that they spray on regular fruits and vegetables that aren't organic. And then the other one is called Organapeel, and that goes on to the organic fruits and vegetables. The thing that is concerning to me about this is that they call it natural, and they say it's made from vegetable fats, and that, fat is a preservative, if you don't know that, but they spray it on. Well, the thing is that that's 0.6% of the ingredients, right? Well, the company is not telling you what the other 99.3% of the ingredients are. So what's the rest of it made out of? I want to know. And I don't want to, you can't wash it off. It has no taste. It has no smell. It has no color. So you might even not even know that you're eating that. And the bottom line is you can't wash it off. And I don't want to put something in my body that I don't know what 99.3% of the ingredients are. Like, what is it? Why aren't you telling us? Which makes me think it's something bad. I don't know what else you could think. So be aware of that. On your fruits and vegetables, it's a little sticker that they put on there, and it's either going to say, I think it's Apeel, Organapeel, or just Apeel, A-P-E-E-L. So watch for that. I've seen it, and I won't buy that stuff. I'll give you a couple tips that I just want to share that are really simple that can help you with eating better. So try to buy things that are packaged in glass versus plastic, because a lot of us know that the plastics, there's many reasons for not using plastics, but we try to avoid foods that are packaged in plastics. It's almost impossible to eliminate it completely, but like if I buy mayonnaise or something like that, I try to buy the stuff that's in the glass container, and eventually I'll make my own mayonnaise and I'll be like my mom, hopefully. Try to use glass instead of plastic. Read your labels like we talked about earlier. Look at what's in there. Try to avoid those highly processed foods that have ingredients that you don't know what they are. Like a cookie shouldn't have words in it that we don't even know what it is, like these long chemical names. Like, no, don't eat that stuff. Try to avoid GMOs if you can. Try to eat organically. Your gut health is super important. I do some things. I take probiotics. I also do gut health boosters, like I ferment garlic and honey, and I eat that pretty regularly. I cook with it and things like that. I try to eat things that are good for my gut biome because that directly impacts my immunity. And I've noticed, I'm telling you, over the last couple years, I've noticed a huge difference in my overall health. I'm not as sick as much. When I do get sick, I seem to bounce back a lot quicker. And that is, I believe, because I've been focusing on my gut and really being aware of the foods that I'm putting into myself. So those are my tips for eating better. And I want to talk to you about a couple other things that are going on. So we've been really busy. Most of you know that Doug and I had taken basically a year off work to start building our homestead. We both went back to work full-time just over this last summer. And so I'm gonna tell you, like, it took a minute for us to like settle back into that routine. I work from home and I do editing and transcription. Doug is a chef and he cooks at a local restaurant, but we're just more busy and we have more pressure on our time. So we've totally slacked on the videos, and apologize for that, but we're getting back on track. So the things that I really want to share with you guys that are really cool that I'm really excited about. So first of all, I started with my friend Jessica, I started a freeze-dried food company called FreezeDried Collective. And right now we're selling freeze-dried candy, and it is actually a nonprofit. So we decided we wanted to help people that have, okay, come up, come on. This is my kitty Boo. This is my old lady. She's almost 19. Or no, she's 18 and a half. She was born around Halloween. So Boo Kitty's been with us for quite a while. But anyway, so we started FreezeDried Collective. We're selling in the local stores our freeze-dried candy. We are going to be actually adding in fruit, freeze-dried fruit this week. We have made a commitment that we are not going to be reselling any fruit that is not organic. We're not going to sell any fruit that has a peel on it, because I don't think that the freeze-dry process would get rid of it. And we are not going to be purchasing any produce that is GMO. So we're committed to that. And the nonprofit part of it, our goal is that a portion of the proceeds that we make, we're going to donate back to the community, to people that have food insecurity, that might not have access to fresh fruits and vegetables or the ability to store them long term. A lot of us that are out here doing this and homesteading and building our homesteads are living in RVs, and our RV has a micro size. Don't bite me. She sometimes gives little love bites when you're not expecting. But we have a tiny fridge, and then our freezer is only like maybe this wide by that tall by maybe that deep. And I can't fit very much in there, so I can't like buy like at Costco and go buy like a bunch of meat and freeze it, because I just don't have the space. Pardon the rooster. He just wants to be in the video. So anyway, so our goal is to freeze dry food, give it back to the community for people that are in need, and then it retains up to 97% of its nutritional value. And it's really fun to eat freeze-dried stuff. If you haven't tried it yet, you should. You can go on our website, freezedriedcollective.org or .com. You can get there either way, and you can see what we've got. We've got tons of different freeze-dried candies. The Skittles are amazing. The freeze-dry process, things that have sugar in it, it makes it puff up. So the Skittles kind of like pop, and they get like fluffy and light and crunchy and really, really good. It's not like eating, how Skittles are kind of like chewy, and it takes the chewiness out, and it becomes like a really fun snack to eat, which I wouldn't recommend eating a lot of it, but it's fun sometimes. So, but we're going to be adding fruit in, and like I said, it's going to be top quality stuff, and freeze-dried fruit is delicious. It's like eating candy, and we don't put anything on it. The only thing we sometimes use is a little bit of lemon juice so that things don't get brown, but other than that, we don't use no other extra crap. So it's good quality stuff. And we are going to be selling that at the farmers market that is here in Alfreda, which brings me to my next thing I want to share. And the other the other thing that's been taking up a lot of my time lately, Jessica and I were looking for a place to sell our freeze-dried candy, like at farmers markets and things. And we noticed there just isn't anything in Alfreda. And so I got online and was doing research. I came across the Alfreda Farmers Market Facebook page, and I started reading through the posts, and I realized they had shut the market down during COVID and it never reopened. Well, the guy and his wife that run it, he's actually Border Patrol, and him and his wife had just adopted some kids, and his life just got crazy, which of course, like, he just became a parent and, you know, working the Border Patrol, I'm sure he has crazy hours, and just didn't have time to reopen it. So he had made a post on there that said, I'm looking for a local to reopen this farmer's market and basically hand everything over to. And I read it and I'm like, yeah, I guess I got to open the farmer's market. So I took it on. I know I'm crazy and it's a volunteer position, but I'm so passionate about it, you guys. And if you're local, if you live anywhere near Alfreda, the market is opening back up on Saturday, March 23rd. Can you guys hear that? It sounds like they're saying, go back, go back, go back. That's the guinea fowl. And they drive me, they come down and they do this right by the window and it drives me crazy. They're so loud sometimes, so I apologize if that's loud. But anyway, I'm opening the farmer's market back up with a heavy focus on local, organic, handmade items. It's really going to be awesome. And I've already got a bunch of vendors for March 23rd. The thing that is the most cool about this is that we're partnering with Valley Union High School, which is the big high school in Alfreda that all the little towns around this valley that we're overlooking feed into this high school. And they have really nice facilities, and they have a big, huge parking lot. So, and it's right off of Highway 191, which is the main highway that goes through Cochise County from the north to the south. And we're gonna have if you want to be a vendor, I would love to have you if you're local. It's $5 for a spot. I'm trying to keep it really affordable for people. I do have to charge a small fee because I'm going to be doing some advertising. I'm going to have some signs made and things like that. But it's only $5, and if you have a local product that you either grow or make, I would love to have you be part of it. Like I said, its opening day will be March 23rd from 9 to 1. And Jessica and I will actually have our freeze-dried food business set up there, so you can come down and we'll have samples, which is really fun. You can try the freeze-dried foods and see what you think. We think it's just been a really great business, and we've met some absolutely incredible people by starting this business. And then the farmers market, everything kind of like ties together, right? And we're going to be, Doug and I are going to be focusing more this year on growing some vegetables and fruits, and I'm going to try to grow a lot of culinary herbs, and that's something that we also plan to freeze dry and then resell it under our FreezeDried Collective business. So all these things are kind of working together, but also took up a lot of time. And then I got the flu or something, flu-like, like mid-January-ish, and man, I was sick for like 3 days. I had a temperature. I came through it and I was doing really good. And then woke up one morning to Doug coughing, which he doesn't do. And I'm like, are you sick? And he's like, oh, I'm so sick. Well, he was sick. He got COVID. So, and he brought it home from work, unfortunately. But he got it, and then I got it like a few days later. And oh my gosh, I just got really sick. I'm feeling a lot better now. Kitty, you're right. You're like right in my way. She doesn't realize that we're videoing. So anyway, I've been down really for a couple weeks, and this version of COVID, whatever it is, it just made me really tired, and I felt like I was just sleeping all the time, but I got through it. I actually took the ivermectin. Some of you might think I'm crazy, but I actually had a firefighter and a doctor that both told me it's absolutely fine as long as you use the right dose. But I bought the over-the-counter. You can buy it at the ranch store. It's the ivermectin horse paste. It's completely fine to use, and I used that, and that seemed to really help me kick it. I'm not recommending that for you. Do your research. I'll put the links in the description for all this stuff I'm sharing with you guys. Another thing I wanted to share with you that's along the food line about where Doug and I buy a lot of our food is through Azure. It's called Azure, and it's basically an online co-op, and then they deliver monthly to a local drop area. They deliver down, it's like 20 minutes from here, and we drive down, and at the appointed time, the semi-truck shows up and everybody's there and everybody gets their boxes of food. Well, I've never heard of Azure, and they've been around for a very long time. They have super strict requirements on their food and what they allow in their food, and most all their produce is completely organic and non-GMO. They have everything from flour and baking supplies to canning supplies to meats to like everything you could possibly imagine, and it's really actually super inexpensive. Like I wouldn't say it's cheap because you get what you pay for, but it's comparable to the grocery store, and I would rather support like local farmers, which is where they get all this stuff from. So I'll put a link, I actually put a link up above too, to Azure, and you can check it out if you're somebody that is concerned about what they're eating and what they're putting in their body. Azure is awesome. They've done like all the hard part for you, and they've already read the labels, and they don't allow certain things in, and it's a pretty long list of stuff that they don't allow. Like they try not to have anything that is GMO, and they try to have everything not have like dyes in them. You know, a lot of you might know some of the food dyes that they use are not good for you at all. And like they don't allow refined sugars, so you can't buy like Coke or Pepsi on there, but you can buy like Zevia, which is made with stevia. It's not a refined sugar. So anyway, I love Azure Standard, and I've been buying like all my bread flour and baking supplies, and they have tons of seasonal fruits and vegetables, and it's all seasonally grown. It's not shipped in not ripe and then redistributed. This is stuff that, you know, that when cherries are in season, you buy them. You don't buy them in the off season because you get an inferior product. So I love Azure Standard. It doesn't work for everybody, but man, you guys should check it out. I really enjoy it. All right, I think this video has been long enough. What do you guys think? Now it's time for the surprise. So the day I got sick, Doug was already in bed asleep, and I was getting ready to get into bed, and I'm like, man, my throat's starting to hurt. That's how it started. The COVID this time started with like a tickle in my throat, and just progressed from there. But I was getting ready to go to bed, and I started hearing one of our goats was making like weird noise. Like they can get really vocal sometimes, especially if they're hungry or thirsty, but this was like a different kind of a baa. I don't know. It was a weird, I'm like, what the heck? So I was like, oh man, I don't want to go outside. I just want to go to bed. I was starting to feel crummy, but I'm like, no, I better go make sure she's not stuck, or like, I honestly thought like maybe there was a predator or something. So I grabbed my flashlight, I go out there, and I'm walking up, and she's in the goat house, the stone goat house that you guys saw Doug build. And she's standing there, and she's like, moo, and she's just got this look, and I shine the light on her, and I'm like, oh dear heavens, this goat is in labor. And totally unexpected labor that we were not planning on having baby goats yet. So we have 3 goats. We have Laverne and Shirley. Laverne's our brown goat, Shirley's our black goat, and then we have Frankie. Well, Frankie we originally named him Fonzie, so it was Laverne, Shirley, and Fonzie. And then about a year ago, Fonzie got, I don't know what they call it for goats, but our breeder that we got them from came over, and it's like, it was not fun to watch or hear, but it was quick. But it didn't work. And now we have a baby goat. So, and we actually think that possibly, so Laverne is the mom. Her labor, she wasn't, I mean, it was quick. It was like, maybe she had been in labor all day and we just didn't notice. We didn't notice that she was doing what's called bagging up, which means their udder starts to get full of milk in anticipation for the baby goat. We didn't notice that. all three of the goats have always been kind of on the chunky side. So we couldn't even tell that she was pregnant. And we just didn't even think that was possible. So we weren't looking for it. So, but anyway, so now we have a baby goat and her name is Baby Goat for the moment. And that's where you guys come in. We need you to help us name the goat. So we have Laverne and Shirley. We renamed Fonzie Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Well, now we still call him Frankie, but Frankie didn't go to Hollywood, it turns out, and he's still able to procreate. So we actually think there's a good possibility that Shirley might also be pregnant. I got to learn a little bit more about it because this all just happened just recently. So this is all happening on Valentine's Day, right? So Baby Goat was born on Valentine's Day. She is healthy. She looks like her mom. She's got her mom's coloring, and she's really adorable. You guys, she's a blessing. So, you know, Shirley may have one soon here too, and we'll just have to deal with it. But, and in the meantime, once we probably will sell baby girl goat, and then we'll probably just we'll milk mom so that we have goat milk so we can make butter and all that fun stuff. So, but what we need help with is naming the goat. So here's some videos of her, and you can see she's adorable. She's got, I call it goat joy, where I'll look out the window and I'll see her walking around and she just does these little hops and these little, I call them happy hops. I don't know what they're called in real life, but she does these little jumpy things, and you can just tell she just feels happy to be here. One of the things that we didn't really know about goats, because we got our goats when they were like 2 months old, is goats are born ready to go. They're born walking. There's no and they're kind of independent. She does her own thing. She hangs out with her mom and she nurses and stuff, and then she goes and does her own thing. She's not with her mom all day long. And so I think it was the third night that we had her. Now bear in mind, we had no idea that we were going to be having a baby goat, so we weren't prepared in any way. So part of that is our fencing. Our fencing it's called no-climb field fencing. So the way that it is the rows of wire are closer together towards the bottom, and then they get bigger as you go up. Well, baby girl goat can get through that. And we thought that she would just stick with her mom and that her mom would stick with her. Well, that's not the way it is. And I think it was her second or third night here, I went to go get her because we've been bringing her in at night. We put her in our bathtub because it's still pretty cold at night. And I went to go get her and I could not find her. I was looking everywhere and I was starting to feel really worried because the sun was going down. It wasn't dark yet, but it was dusk. And I'm like, we've got to find this thing before it gets completely dark or she's going to be like a coyote snack. And looking everywhere for this little goat, and I could not find her. And you could tell mom was kind of panicky too. She was crying, and I think she was trying to cry for her to get her attention. Oh my God, it was awful. So we looked everywhere for her. We were all over the place. Well, Doug found her. She had gotten out on the south side of the paddock that we keep the goats in. She gotten out on the south side, and that side kind of goes down a hill, and there's a wash at the bottom, I don't know, 100 feet down the hill. And Doug found her down there at almost in the wash, curled up under a tree, settling in for the night, I guess. But I'm like, oh my gosh, the coyotes travel the washes around here. And oh man, that would have been awful. I don't want a baby goat to get taken out that way. So we found her, and now we're a little bit more aware of where she's at during the day, and we kind of keep an eye. So anyway, help us name the baby goat. Give us your best suggestion, and the winner is going to win something. I don't know what. We're thinking maybe a t-shirt or a hat or something. So give us your best goat name. I've got a few of my friends that watch our channel that are going to participate for sure. So we would love your guys' names, and help us give her a name so we don't just keep calling her baby girl goat. All right, so that concludes this video. I really appreciate you guys watching to the end. I know it was a long one. I had a lot of things to share with you guys, and I'm just thankful that you still watch our channel, and I hope you get value out of this. And if you do, And if you haven't subscribed yet, we would love you to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Keep following us, because you guys, we're learning as we go. Like, we are literally learning as we go about this homesteading thing. We're having a ball. We're really enjoying ourselves, and we're really enjoying living this way. So thanks again for staying tuned to the end, and hope you guys have a great day. Bye.